Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you're joining from. Welcome to the second edition of Tech, Trade, and Trends Knowledge Series by Dubai Commerce City. My name is Arjun Sarkar, and I'm the Vice President of Digital Ecosystem and Partnerships at Dubai Commerce City. For people who were there in the previous edition, it was a pleasure to have you all, and I believe we were able to share some inciting trends from the digital commerce world. As you know, our objective from this series is to take you through what's happening new in the world of technology and innovation, in the world of trade, and the trends that are shaping the world of digital commerce. Today, we have a series of exciting topics to be discussed, and I'm joined by a line of great speakers. We will be looking into first um, World Dev Dubai, a digital commerce event that is going to take place at Dubai Commerce City next month. After that, we will go into a masterclass on composable commerce, a session I definitely recommend everyone to attend to understand how the world of technology is changing uh, digital commerce. And finally, a panel discussion where we will be discussing a topic which is very close to my heart, breaking down silos between online and offline. So to begin with, I invite Mr. Orhan Isaev, Vice President and Board Member of WorldDev, to take us through what's happening at World of Dubai 2026 next month at Dubai Commerce City. Orhan, over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the introduction, Arjun. It's my pleasure to be here. As you know, there will be the largest e-commerce fair in Dubai as a second edition in partnership with Dubai Commerce City. And as a community, we have around more than 200,000 e-commerce companies inside our community. And that's why it's good to see the more than 80 countries, 10,000s of people in February in Dubai. Also, we are inviting all our friends to related event. I would like to share some information about the event, by the way. I would like to share my screen from here and share the voice. I think I need to get confirmation, right, for the sharing with the sound. Just a minute, let me check.
You can share the screen directly.
Yeah, I can share screen, but it's not letting me share with sound. That's why I'm trying to find. No worries. Let me share directly from here. You can see my screen. Great, excellent. Yeah, it's going to be held on 12th of February, from 12th of February to 14th of February, under patronage of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Said Al Maktoum, and also His Excellency Thani bin Ahmed Al Zayudi will have the speech, and there will be more than 20 countries, ministers, and governmental delegations in the event. Our target sectors: logistic, payment, marketing, technology, retail, marketplaces, and so on, as Mr. Arjun told. All the trends and all the trades and techs will be there. And from Middle East, Africa, UK, Europe, India, Central Asia, we will have the guests. And we are doing this event as a second edition, and some of our exhibitors you can see here, category-based, all the related enterprise companies like TikTok, Meta, Google, DHL, Turkish Airlines, Amazon, Trendyol, eBay, and so on, attending in the event. Most of them are having the booth exhibitor there, and it will be possibility for you to meet with them and have a partnership with them. All the related medias, local and global medias, will be there. And around 2-3 weeks, all the media in digital media and in traditional media you can see about the event. All the LinkedIn will be about World of Dubai. You can be sure about it. And By the way, as an exhibitors, such a type of companies attending in the event, logistic, fintech, digital marketing. As a summary, let's say others of digital economy. On the other side, as a visitors, retail brands like Shellhoop Group, Altair Group, Al Futtaim Group, Landmark Group, and retailbrands.com sellers, marketplace sellers, manufacturers from more than 80 countries will attend in the event. And if you are looking for lead generation, government relation development, expand global trade, brand visibility, and investment opportunity, it's a good chance for you to attend and get value from the event. We have 4 stages, Future Commerce stage, which is the main stage, Masterclass stage, Case Study stage, and Investment stage. And some of our speakers here, you can see C-level managers of related enterprise companies and agenda. By the way, after this webinar, you will get by email all the related details. And we would like to see you as our guests also in the event. That's why don't hesitate. Just write to us if you are interested about exhibiting or attending as a visitor. Also, we will be pleased to see you in the event. And Arjun and all our friends here, and you will see physically, by the way, on February, all of us. And we will be pleasure to see you also in World of Dubai. Thank you so much for this webinar and for the time slot for giving to me for this chance. Have a good webinar, let's say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Orhan. I'm sure now that you have talked about the event, many of our guests who are attending this webinar would be keen to attend it. So, as you said, after the session, we will be sending out emails and we'll also include how they can register and be a part of World DF Dubai 2026 taking place at Dubai Commerce City, 12th to 14th February. Thank you, Orhan. Moving on. Interesting topic, Composable Commerce Masterclass. Build once, sell everywhere. And who better to deliver this than my dear friend, Diego, Director Solution Architect, EMEA and APAC for VTEX. Diego, over to you.
Hi, Arjun. Hello, everyone. First, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And in the next minutes, I will share a little bit of my experience with composability in the e-commerce, right? So let's go straight to the share my screen here. Just 1 second. Oops, just second slideshow. Okay, I hope everyone can see, right? So as Arjun introduced me, my name is Diego Sione. I'm Director of Solution Engineering and Architecture for VTEX in the region. Let's go straight to the point, right? Like what is composability on the digital e-commerce mindset, right? Landscape. Composability is we used to say that composability is the architectural approach of assembling different components to build your final experience, right? So I always explain this, try to explain for who are not tech people, that imagine that when we are building a system, right? Like when you are building an e-commerce operation, there are different components that needs to be connected to work properly, right? So the ability to connect those components in a unified way is what will make your operation health, right? So imagine that every system has a different, as a Lego, right? As a piece of Legos, and they need to be connected to work proper. So in a nutshell, this is what we mean when we are talking about a composable e-commerce solution, right? Before like this, let's see how we get into this, right? Mainly I consider the digital commerce software, right, came as in waves, right? So the first wave we have on the premise. So basically what you had used to buy a software that was a monolith, that means just one system that has everything inside that you need, right? The second wave that we have was like to move this on-premise, which was allocated in your data center or in a physical computer, like to move this monolith to SaaS solutions like AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, and etc. Right? With this, what we created, we opened the opportunity to create integrations between systems, right? Which was hard on the premise because you had like one system running sometimes in an office or in the IT department of a company, and now we have on the cloud, right? And this opened the third wave, which was like the headless approach. And what that means, headless, in a nutshell, right? Like again, for the no text. That means that everything that we have in the second wave that now is available on the internet can be connected from any part of the world, right? So the systems had to adapt themselves to this third wave that is open doors, let's say like this, right? There's a protocol, there's a lot of tech behind this. But in a nutshell, what those systems on the cloud allowed was to open doors that allow communication with other systems. So that's how we connect the Legos piece from one side to the other one. And now we believe that we are in the fourth wave, which is the pragmatic composability. That is like how how the softwares, how the e-commerce platforms adapt themselves to make this process frictionless, right? Here, again, just like a visual way of like when you have the flexibility and the maintenance like in an e-commerce operation, right? So when you have a legacy system, which is a monolith, right? Again, you have like the high cost and etc. you need to maintain by yourself. Then the second level, which we call the best of the breed, that you can decouple your e-commerce operation, right? In a way that you can get different suppliers from different parts of the system, right? So if you need a CRM, you can go to a specific like Braze, right? Like they have like a CRM. Then you have CMS, you have like thousands of suppliers of CMS, right? Like Contentful, etc. The same for search. You have Algolia, OpenSearch. So how to build this? Of course, you can go and get the best of the breed that we call. You go to the market and choose the ones to build the operation. And we have what we call pragmatic composability, which is like you choose exactly what you want to use in the moment of maturity of your company to build your operation to solve a problem in that moment of time, but not forgetting that you need to expand in the future, right? So what are the pitfalls of the commerce composability, right? So if I come back here and see, you can see here, every time that I slice my e-commerce, right? For you can sometimes you just see a website, but behind there are many systems as we saw. Like there's a CRM, a CMS, a search, OMS, the marketplace, and etc. So what's the pitfall that mostly the time the companies they fall when implementing composability? Okay, first it's the orchestration, right? So you have like a lot of suppliers that needs to talk between them. Like, so you eventually you have like 10 different vendors that are specific in one part of one piece of the Lego, one block of the Lego that needs to orchestrate this, right? So this is generate complexity in the orchestration. We have like hidden costs of custom development maintenance, right? Because when you start to integrate, you need to create complex middleware to orchestrate this, and the maintenance it's high, usually is on the retailer that needs to maintain this or the partner that needs to maintain this infrastructure to make sure everything is working properly from one side to the other, right? For example, a product is created in the catalog, needs to arrive to the front end, right? Sometimes it goes to 10 different systems just to show in the front end, right? And this generates, of course, cost, and time to the market gets higher because you need to make sure everything is working. And by the last, the vendor accountability, right? If something breaks, sometimes you have 3 or 4 different vendors that are involved in the specific part of the project, right? Like, so who to blame, or who should act in a moment that you have like 4 or 5 different vendors that manage the flow, right? So those are the pitfalls. And then like by the end, what we usually do, like implementing projects, and I'm sure I implemented more than 100, 200 projects of e-commerce in 5 continents, we have like a matrix that we usually use, right? So all in one. So you can have like an e-commerce platform that is not a monolith, but you still have like every application that needs to run on e-commerce, like a storefront, a CMS, which is for content, a search, right? And capabilities. And then you can decouple these components. So imagine every box here is a different component that can be decoupled from the main software, let's say like this, to allow a composability that is only related to the moment of maturity of the retailer, right? So if the retailer, for example, has a catalog of, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 products, why they go for a PIN solution that costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars in implementation and maintenance, right? So it's the job of the architecture in the composability, let's say like this, is to help the retailer to build their operation using the right moment of taking in consideration the moment of maturity of them to let them build their operation, right? And it's totally fine, for example, when you have like a small company, a small retailer that does not have process, whatever, to have just one application. And then as they grow up, like, oh, I want to have a marketplace now, I want to have a B2B, you start to decouple your components of the e-commerce until that moment that you get like a purest one. So you can have like, as I showed, like the levels with different suppliers, but then you are considering like solving a problem in that moment. You don't need to expend money in a lot of ways, right? At the same time, you can face your decoupled experience, the composability. So here would be like a map how retailers go from a simple operation to a more sophisticated one, right? Here again, just like a top to down visibility, right? When you have like in terms of cost, because everyone talk about like how much it costs and etc. But the TCO on the GMV, which is the metric that we use to evaluate, is when you have like the best of the breed, the monolith, the composability, the pragmatic composability, which I will show in a moment, in 1 minute. It's about like how you can even lower your TCO because you don't need to have all those suppliers. You can just choose in the moment of maturity of your company, the components that you want to operate, right? And here, just like an example of like VTEX as a e-commerce solution, we operate, right? So imagine that the first slide that I showed was like a big Lego blocks, right? Connected. Here is a more structure, but you can see that VTEX, we have a basic solution for everything here. So we have like a CMS, a search, a PWA, which is a mobile application, and etc. But what is in short? I allow the retailers and companies to go for a more simple operation. And somehow, for example, I will give just 1 or 2 examples here. Let's imagine that my search is not the best one for Cyrillic semantic search, right? So if this is important for the retail, he can just decouple from my search and use an external search like or Algolia or OpenSearch, and he keeps like just operating under the problem that I have. And with this, like, is how you allow a pragmatic composability, just changing the pieces that are relevant to the moment of your company. And yes, with this, we finish the 10 minutes masterclass. I appreciate the time. And please, if you have more questions or want to know more about how we achieve this, feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. I will leave here my LinkedIn link. Feel free to contact. We are VTEX is in the Commerce City, so I'll be very happy to have a coffee with all of you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic, Diego. Thanks a lot. You know what I take away from that session is the key message. You mentioned the whole concept of composability is like Lego blocks.
Yes.
So easy to remember.
Exactly.
And you can pick and choose the way you want to have it your way, whether you want to use a certain product from a certain partner and a different product from a different partner. You put together the blocks and
Exactly.
then you create something better. And that's why in your penultimate slide, you had composability and complete. So the Lego blocks in a composable way creates a complete architecture. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
Exactly.
Diego. That was
Thank
a
you,
great
Arjun.
presentation, and I'm sure there will be questions, and people will definitely reach out to you over LinkedIn.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you. Now, the next one, a panel session. Today, we live in a world where it's no longer enough to only have an online presence and a very different experience in the offline store. We're talking about omni-channel experiences. So we chose the topic of breaking down silos between online and offline. And as part of the panel, we have rockstar speakers. We have Mr. Vikas Jun, Head of E-Commerce Life Healthcare Group, Mr. Anurag Bayola, Founder and CEO, Techies Infotech, and Mr. Asim Pandey, Business Director of Hatan. And the panel will be moderated by my dear colleague, Kapil Bhamre. Kapil, over to you. You have amazing speakers with you. Let's understand how to break down the silos between online and offline.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Arjun, for introducing to the panel members. Of course, the panel members are veteran of the industry. So to begin with, quick note for attendees, if you have any questions, we'll be taking towards the end of the panel discussion. Meanwhile, feel free to use the chat box for any questions and we'll take it up towards the end of panel discussion. So great. So I'll start with Mr. Vikas Jun, who is the Director of E-Commerce for Life Health Group. So Mr. Vikas, Life Healthcare operates in a highly regulated environment. From your experience, where do healthcare-focused e-commerce operations struggle more when trying to deliver a seamless experience across different touch points, physical and digital, especially around fulfillment and customer trust? What's your opinion on this?
Thank you so much, Kapil. And, thank you so much for this opportunity and, welcome all of you guys. I think I just want to start with one of the statements, right? We're very fortunate that, we're working in an economy where regulations evolve every year and they evolve for one thing only, which is better customer experience. And, at the same time, the customer experience, at least in this part of the world, are moving really, really fast. We have seen a development of the quick services in this part of the world much, much, much faster, when you compare it with the economies like UK and Europe, which are much larger economies as well. I think that being said, it's, at Life Healthcare Group, it is very much important for us because, when you're dealing with something as sensitive as, medicines, vitamins and supplements for the customers, it's very important for us to ensure, that reliability and accuracy is there across the board. And that's where, what we're trying to do is we are trying to connect the largest chain of, 500 plus pharmacies and bring that network from offline over to the online world. And, especially when you're trying to offer the customers options of, walk-in and order, online order, phone orders, there are a lot of things and checks and balances that you need to put in place, all the way from, real-time inventory updates. So if a customer walked into a store, has bought one particular medicine, that medicine has to be -1 across the board for me, so that the customer gets the right communication in terms of what is available and what is not available for them. Which is slightly easier, I would say. But then the moment you talk about prescriptions, medicine, where the customer needs to upload, their prescription on the platform, there needs to be some sort of right due diligence / checks and balances again, in place. So we do ensure the right use of AI now is in place. Gone are the days, where you had to put in a team of 20, 30, 40, 50 people to validate each and everything. We are using AI to our leverage. We're using technology to our leverage, providing the real-time update, across the platform, ensuring the clear communication, and availability, delivery promises, whether it is 30 minutes, same-day delivery, and the substitute that needs to be offered to the customers. And at the end of the day, ensuring that all our store managers, all our regional managers, all our warehouse managers, and the business team talk the same language. while they do need to understand their own separate KPIs and KRAs, it's also important for them to understand what exactly customer needs. So, and I think that's what we're trying to implement at least at Life Healthcare Group and provide the seamless customer experience to our customers.
That's interesting. So let's hear from Mr. Asim. I'm sure Algore Group trying to work on omni-channel model, right? So considering the current situation of technology gaps, data silos, and operating models, how do you maintain consistency in delivering a true customer experience for your clients as well?
I think first of all, thank you very much, Arjun, for inviting me in this panel. I think it was quite last minute, but it was. I'm very happy that I got this invite from you and managed to join. Just before I answer, Kapil, I wanted to, give a big shout out to Diago, because the kind of presentation you did right now about this whole suite of, mini, I would say, systems that your platform offers. 2 years back, when I joined Algorand Group, and we wanted to do a big major transformation, because I think from our VC, it was very clear that these 2 years would be the years where we would be setting up the foundation right. Okay. And post that, the next 5 years would be all about going after the growth. And what we did is we went after so many different systems. We have implemented but so many different systems, and it was such a Herculean exercise for us to do that. And imagine when you are not doing this alone for your business, you're doing it a group-wide implementation. It's a massive exercise. Whenever me and Arjun keeps meeting, he always talks about when are you launching, right? And I always try and skip that answer, because we have invested so much in the technology space, because we wanted to make it right from the beginning. So when you were going through this miniatures, right, this composable format of technology, technology has evolved so much today. Gone are the days when we used to talk about, hey, we need this, but we don't have a clarity, right? These days, having a unified view of the customer solves half of your problems, right? But from my experience, what I've seen is, and what Vikas was also mentioning, I think there are still a lot of fragments, right? Fragmented businesses. When you talk about e-commerce, when you talk about stores, right? Is it online customer or is it offline customer? We still do not talk about a unified view of the customer, right? And we do not look after the customer journey. We still go after, oh, it's an e-commerce business, we should be doing this. You talked about searches, right? But what's happening when the same set of customers, which you probably acquired through one of your digital campaign, and they happens to be in the store, would you still be sending out to them a newsletter saying that, hey, you know what, come to my website and you get this offer? It looks so stupid, right? But it was so difficult for us to kind of thought through. So what we did is actually, we invested a lot of time setting up the strategy right from the stakeholder levels. And then we went after defining the customer journey, and customer journey is across the channels, right? We are saying we are living in the world of omni-channel, but if you look at it, is the same Asim, it is the same Arjun, it is the same couple who's actually first time going to your online channel and then ending up visiting your stores, right? So it's not online customer, not offline customer, it is the same customer. As long as you have this clarity, and as long as you are able to tap into these kind of elements, I think the rest of the exercise becomes much easier, right? Then marketing would never talk about, hey, you know what, we have generated so much of demand for you, right? While the offline is not even ready because they have not experienced those kind of volumes before. So I think through your system, the way you were going through piece by piece, I really loved it, we have not been lucky to use VTEX, but I'm sure in the future we have a lot of other brands that we are still trying to bring it to digital front. We recently launched Numu Nursery, which is one of the very prominent business for us. We are launching another huge business, which is an omni-channel business, which is Trooper. I think in the pet care space, we are building something which is, I would say, not really exist in the ecosystem, right? It's massive in a way. I would look at, you have all sorts of CDP, so the moment you land on my website, my touch points would be stalking you and will get to know at what point you're dropping off, You can argue, you're stalking me on the channel. That's not really right, and from the first party data to the third party data and so on and so forth. There can be questions, but I think we have taken care of that. And that's where being a part of the Algorand group, I think also gives you a lot of leverages to play on. But Kapil, coming back to your question, sorry, I took long to answer your point. I think what we did at a strategy level, we realized that a lot of groups, not like us, but many of other smaller or bigger groups still struggle when it comes to looking at the data, right? So we started first putting up a data architecture in place and then looking at what kind of customer journey we can build out of it, be it online, be it offline, right? And then putting up the right technology stack, right? So we have done a lot of hard work on that front, and I'm very happy the kind of tech stack that we have built. This is not as good as VTEX, but still, I would say I'm happy to where we have reached so far. I think another very, very important point is when you are not talking about channels and you're talking about one unified view of the customer, how are you going to leverage that customer across the multi-channel journey? And how do you incentivize your teams who are basically part of it? So we have built up a very, very different, I would say, out of the, region, I would say, incentive structure, which is very beautiful because now my offline teams do not bother what's going to happen to my customer when this customer goes online, or what happens to my online customer when the same customer goes offline, because my store teams will take that incentive for that customer. So we have built it in a way where online and offline all looking to give a very good experience to that customer, be it online, be it offline. What we have also done is at the leadership level, I think we have clearly defined our vision for the company, not for the channels, right? And when at a leadership level, if you have clearly defined rules, you have clearly defined policies, I think it becomes easier for the champions in the systems to follow those processes and give a good experience to the customers. And as a result of that, you grow as a company, not as a channel. So I think we have done a lot of hard work. And Trooper as a business, which is coming up now in another, I think in Q2, we are very bullish about this business and we are launching it in the second quarter. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that I would be able to talk. I'm deliberately holding up myself to talk about those things that we have implemented. But it is something which is where we have really invested a lot in the technology and invested a lot on the people also.
Interesting. Asim, thank you. Thanks for your insights. I know there are a lot of developments happening at your end. Now we have heard the perspective from the business side, right? Mr. Vikas and Mr. Asim. Now we have a gentleman, Mr. Anurag, who runs a software company. So I'll move on to Anurag and understand his perspective. So Anurag, I'm sure you're working with multiple brands and companies in the region and beyond, right? So where are the main challenges for companies moving from single monolithic platforms to more composable and AI-driven platforms? What are the key challenges from your perspective for companies to switch around?
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Kapil, and thank you for having me here. Very excited to be part of this panel. I would rather start from a shift, which is more of a mindset shift, moving from a monolithic architecture to a composable architecture. So most of these brands, they consider this as a technology shift. But for me, I think composability is more of a operating model for the business rather than seeing as a technology, right? I see this mind shift changing, but still a lot of brands struggle to unlearn the way they used to operate in the monolithic environment. So that's first reason, it's more about mindset than technology. Another reason that I see is the integration complexity and the real-time expectation. The way the legacy systems are built and the thought process of one size fits all doesn't work in the composable architecture, right? So a lot of brands, they struggle to understand the data flow from one system to the other, right? And then they underestimate how to implement the entire architecture in a way that there is no latency, there's no retries. And most of the brands I have seen struggling to to handle the failure, the error management is where a lot of brands struggle. Another reason I feel it's more about paradox of choice, and I believe my friend Asim would agree to the fact that while Composable gives you a lot of options, I mean it's the best of the breed solution out there, but most of the time it becomes overwhelming for a lot of brands to choose the right platform. Questions like which vendor to choose, which component to decompose, and a lot of brands they struggle to define the clear boundaries. For example, which piece of the puzzle owns the pricing, which is the single source of truth for inventory, which component owns the promotion and fulfillment, right? So all these factors actually make it difficult for a brand to move away from a monolithic architecture to a composable architecture. But we at Techies, since we are working with a lot of brands, the most common advice that we give to these brands is the fact that start small, start with one component at a time, and then scale and taste the success and move from there. So yeah, that's my take on the challenges that a brand face.
Great, Anurag. I think your perspective was very important from the technology company side, right? Now, moving to Vikas, I'm sure there are a lot of developments happening, Vikas, in order to manage omni-channel business at Life Healthcare. So, how do you see so far what has been done at a Life Healthcare group? How it is helping you to improve your business processes, bring the flexibility and consistency across the channel? Because you operate in a very sensitive industry group, I must say, healthcare. So far, how has been the shift towards the omni-channel side in considering the implementation of composable solutions available in the market?
Sure. I think I want to say that, for us, composability it's not about technology, for its own sake, right? It's about leveraging it right and leveraging it right, to scale our business responsibly. Because again, like you mentioned, we're working in a very, very highly regulated healthcare environment. And on top of that, when you add a layer of your own platform plus other 3P platforms, multiple delivery partners, tightly coupled platform has its own limitations. So it makes more sense for us, to be highly, highly, highly modular, highly composable approach, towards, how exactly we want to run the business and how exactly we want to orchestrate our day-to-day, operations and other business activities. I think we can involve. This has obviously helped us, in defining the right inventory logics. When you're operating, if you think about it, we're in a business, we're in a pharmacy business, but at the same time, I can also say that I am also in a business of operating the largest number of dark stores when you compare it with Noon Minutes and Amazon Nows of the world. And when you're doing that, your inventory logics, because people are, like I said, people are placing orders on the phone. You have customers walking in, then you're running your own platform, and on top of that, you're running 3P business as well from those dark stores/pharmacies. It has helped us define the right inventory logics and how do you want to optimize it. Most importantly, the fulfillment orchestration as well. We can pick and choose, and we can also put a guardrails around. Let's say if you do not want to operate from certain pharmacies/dark stores with certain 3P player, and you just want to operate through your own, platform and the walk-ins, we are able to control that, checkout processes, and most importantly, we were able to do that, without disrupting our current ecosystem or the day-to-day business. And I think the other part is also that, the idea is it has also helped us maintain consistency, most importantly, across all the channels, right? And that's something that we want to continue throughout our journey. I think, like Asim mentioned, he wants to talk about Trooper. I'm really excited, to know about that. But without getting into too much details, you'll see a lot more
Sorry,
development.
Vikas, you know what? I'm like I said, I mean, I'm just making sure that I do not speak a lot, but I'm, prompted again. I mean, prescription medication is something which is part of my phase 2, and we are definitely very, very interested of launching this as another line of revenue stream. So this is something which we're definitely talking, and I think Anurag definitely can be a partner in crime, because there's a lot of, again, it's just not about tech. I think tech becomes a little easier, I would say, because you're talking about APIs talking to another set of APIs, right? But how do you build that customer journey, which is where you're talking to Vikas, who says, hey, I have this GDPR activities, right? You cannot really, place an order unless you have a prescription with you, right? So where my customer is going to upload the prescription for for their pets, right? So I have created an interface where they would be uploading the prescription. But then who is going to approve those prescriptions? Who is going to be sitting behind and saying, hey, you know what, this is what Asim has uploaded, and these are absolutely correct. So I need to understand how this model working offline. When I go to live, what magic do they do behind the scene that, that the medication that doctor has written gets approved, insurance says, go ahead, and Vikas hands over the medication to me, right? So we are still kind of decoding it in terms of the tech stack of it and in terms of the policies. So I'm sure. That's why I said, again, thanks, Arjun. I think it's going to be a very good, talk after the panel also. I think we can stay connected and we can continue talking. And Anurag, please become my partner in crime. I think on the tech side, you could be very, very helpful to us.
More than happy, Asim. More than happy to do that.
Perfect.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Vikas, thank you. Thanks for sharing your perspective. I think just a last point from my side, I think COVID taught us a lot how the online medicine delivery is important for us, right? I mean, being a resident for 11 years in Dubai, this was never a choice for us. We always used to go to any of the nearest pharmacy to take the medicines, right? Including prescription as well as OTCs. But now, thanks to Live Pharmacy and the efforts they have put in setting up the e-commerce, I think within 60 minutes, I'm getting my medicines delivered at home.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
So,
See, Kapil, I just wanted to highlight one more thing, right? Like, I think, like, as Asim mentioned, what exactly the magic is going behind. And I think I want to go back to the first statement, when I started. I think, again, from what we are seeing and, by working very, very closely with the healthcare government agencies in this part of the world, we have seen a lot of changes coming in, and we will see a lot of changes and a lot of policy changes, right? The government is very, very bullish in terms of, setting up those infrastructure, AI technology, and everything. We have Anurag here. I'm sure, he knows a lot more than us. But then I think I would say the magic has happened, but then is it the whole Harry Potter / Lord of the Rings stories? Yeah, the answer is no. I think we're yet to see the full picture. And when that comes out, the value that will be created for the customer, right? At the end of the day is going to be so good. And like you said, that, today you're saying that, okay, I can just upload my prescription and get my medicines in 30 minutes. I won't be surprised, when you say that you've already seen the doctor and, before you reach home, you don't even need to think about placing the order, versus you will be in a position where you know that your medicine for tomorrow morning will be there. Are you worried about, do I need to place an order for the next 2-3 consecutive months because I have, let's say, some sort of a problem where I need to take my medicines every 2-3-4 months? Even you don't need to worry about that, because all of that will be taken care of by, someone like Live Pharmacy for you in this particular case. So I think we're not that far away, and bigger magic is yet to happen. But yeah, very soon we'll reach that.
Looking forward to it, because definitely looking forward to it. I think we have implemented a lot of real world AI into our business, right? And today, one of the very fascinating artificial intelligence / tech piece that we have implemented into our business, where in less than a minute, we'll get to know whether my pet needs a doctor, right?
Yeah.
It scans, and that everything is happening through the Trooper app that you're going to see very soon. Everything built inside, while the ownership does not sit with us, but if it does, it immediately connects with somebody like Live Pharmacy, right? And Live Pharmacy has a doctor panel which is also available in my app. So all Asim has to do, once Asim has understood there's this problem with the pet, he connects with the doctor, which is sitting with with Vikas, and Life Pharmacy immediately, the moment that medication has been recommended, prescription gets uploaded, automatically my agentic AI, I'm sure Anurag would be very happy hearing this word, right? This is something that we are working on. If this works out fantastically well, the way we have been defining the customer journey, in no second, you will get a note saying that, oh, doctor has written this medication, Asim, for your pet. And who is delivering this? It's coming from Life Pharmacy. So that's why I said, let's continue talking. I think there's a lot that we can build together.
I'm very excited. I have 2 cats. Sorry, I have 2 cats. Very
Amazing.
excited.
I
Amazing.
think Asim has got
Asim,
some
very-
subscribers already. Asim, how we can join the wait list?
Fantastic, Anurag. I think let's discuss this over a coffee. I think Arjun, please send another invite. I would love to connect with the guys. I'm sure there's a lot we can build together.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited to see the use case by Asim. I think the day is not far. This will become a reality, right? So, Asim, moving on to last question for you. You have partly answered in terms of internal alignment as an organization, because consumers are becoming demanding every passing year, right? There are systems in terms of platforms. So, how do you create an internal alignment to make sure that whatever you have set up as a vision becomes a reality one fine day? So, a brief, crisp answer from you. I know you have a lot to talk, but because of time constraint, let's have a quick answer from you for this question.
Sure. I think first, when you have kind of set up the strategy at the very top level and you have defined the teams for it, I think there is a continuous loop that needs to happen, which I see often is missed in the organization, because if you do not do a regular follow up with the teams on the shared goals, instead of having segmented goals, segmented budgets, segmented KPIs, you need to have shared KPIs. So, I am equally responsible from, let's say, from business side, but then marketing has their role plays. Then you have, supply chain team who is part of it. There's no point creating a demand when supply chain can't meet those demands, right? So I think the KPIs are very important, and those KPIs should not be individual department KPIs. It has to be a group level, so everybody is driving towards the same goal. I mean, the crisp answer would be this, but there's a lot more, again, that we can continue talking. So look forward to, again, another invite from Arjun.
Thank you, Asim. So moving to the last question for Anurag. Anurag, you have heard from the businesses, right? You might have seen the good side so far when it comes to adoption of technology, right? So how businesses can remain consistent? What are the operational complexities they can avoid in order to really look at seamless customer experience, deployment of solutions like VTEX, let us put it this way. So how do you ensure, where do you think technology players like you can play a role?
Great question, Kapil. I think the complexity explodes when business tries to connect every system to every other system. You know what I mean? So they have to establish the right source of truth. I mean, which component is owning the pricing, which component owns the promotion, which component owns the search, which is the component which is gonna do the fulfillment, So it's not about connecting every system to every other system. Let the data flow between these systems, right? So that's one thing that I've realized, which increases a lot of complexity. Another thing that I want to highlight is that the businesses want a perfect system from day one. They want a system which is like perfectly real time in sync, and a system which is flawless. That's not going to happen on day one, right? So there is a concept called eventual synchronization, wherein definitely you need inventory to be synced real time, right? But let's say loyalty points, for example, can be synced after a few minutes, right? So synchronization, which can eventually happen, can bring complexity down. And another point that I want to raise is specifically about, again, talking about that mindset, wherein businesses, they consider this composable architecture as a technology, but it's more about how you operate as a business, right? So the shift has to happen from considering this as a technology to more of a operating model, and this mind shift is gradually happening, and this is what I see in the GCC region. So I want to keep it short. So yeah, Kapil, that's it from my side.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anurag. It's good to hear from the technology implementer side. So with this question, I think considering the time constraint, I know we have a lot to talk. We might have to catch up over a coffee individually, but I would like to thank all the panel members. I know Diago is also here, but definitely, if there are any questions from the audience, feel free to use the chat box, or we are opening the floor for question answers. Over to you, Arjun.
Okay, fantastic. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and Asim, we should catch up over coffee. I mean, I can't get everyone on the webinar today for coffee, but maybe feel
For
free
sure.
to reach out to us, and we can have coffee, whoever is interested. And I'm definitely going to have coffee with Asim, Anurag, Vikas, and keep the conversation going. I was thoroughly enjoying it. We talked about agentic AI, we talked about inventory management in dark stores, the regulatory part of like healthcare as well, and then I love the mindset shift, by the way, Anurag. That's very, very important. And then Asim took us to a very different world where everything seems to happen like we are in that Harry Potter movie. I never expected Harry Potter to make an appearance in Tech, Trade, and Trends. But for all of you who have joined us today, thanks a lot. You're the reason why we created this series. I wholeheartedly thank all the panelists and speakers, Orhan, Diego, Vikas, Asim, and Anurag, and Kapil, well moderated. So we look forward to welcoming you again to the next episode, where we will dive into new topics, understand new trends, and continue to explore the world of digital commerce together. You will also find the recording of the webinar on the Dubai Commerce City YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe to that to stay updated on what's happening in this knowledge series of tech, trade, and trends. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries in tech, driving trade forward, and shaping tomorrow's trend. This is Arjun Sarkar signing off for today from the lovely Dubai Commerce City from Tech, Trade, and Trends. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arjun.
Everyone.
See you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.